Friends from the Road. You are now listening to the Friends from the Road podcast.
Gaining new friends along the journey. Sharing stories that inspire, encourage, and motivate.
Friends from the Road podcast.
Now here's your host, Daniel Hurd.
Welcome, everyone, to the Friends from the Road podcast. Tonight, I'm here, and it's a beautiful night here at Lake Texoma. I'm actually inside because it's a little bit chillier than I was hoping. But I left the door open, so you may hear the chimes going off. But it reminds me of a night just over 2 years ago when I was on the Florida-Alabama line. And I was setting up camp for the night, and I was looking to see where I was going to stay for the days ahead. And so I reached out to a gentleman through email from an organization called Warm Showers. And I asked him if I could stay with him on my way through the area. That gentleman's name was David Carden, and he ended up reaching right back out to me very quickly on his way from a special dinner. And he brought a friend, and both of them are here tonight. And the friend happens to be Todd Fulmer. And, you know, both of these guys, I don't think any three of us expected that night to be a start of a great friendship, but I'm really glad that these two became friends from the road. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
What's up?
Cheers.
So, you know, it was pretty, I think it was the beginning of February of 2019, David, that I reached out to you. It was pretty last minute, and I was really quite surprised to hear back out from you. But you were doing something special that night. What was going on?
Yeah, man. And dinner with my middle daughter, Lily. We're having dinner. We were at P.F. Chang's and got this email, and I'm like, I don't know, out of nowhere, saw that there was a message from you on Warm Showers. And we've hosted quite a few people over the years, and there's randomly just sometimes where there's a little more, I don't know, of a sense to reach back out and do something. And so responded, and that night called my buddy Todd, and we rolled on down to pick you up, man.
Yeah, and Todd, you know, it was pretty awesome. We all just kind of met up, and David, you know, you guys told me that it was kind of weird, actually, because initially it wasn't to have you come pick me up. But it was, I know for a fact it was a Saturday because I asked you what you had going on the next day, and you had told me that pretty much Sundays were your relaxed days after church. And I brought up that I was just recently had become a Christian myself, and that if I could, I would definitely have joined you guys. And I think that's really what inspired you to come and pick me up, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Yeah, I think when you called me, because I responded to the message on Warm Showers, and then I think we ended up talking by phone. And through that, you shared a little bit about your journey, and I looked on the Ride with Dan page and just kind of seen more of what you were doing. And yeah, I think it all just kind of came together that it made sense to kind of get things going a little sooner.
So what do we do after we get loaded up? We went and did stuff. What do we do?
Well, backing up a little bit, he had called me. I was, I think, doing a dinner myself. I was living separately at that time. And he said something about, it could be interesting. You know, this guy cycles in, 48 states for suicide awareness. And so it could be really interesting. And I guess that was after he had read the story, and gotten initially inspired by your journey that you were on. So we were like, cool. So he loaded me up, and I was just kind of coming along for the ride, really, just checking it out.
Checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was interesting to have both of you guys show up too, but, David, did you really, how many people have you ever hosted from Warm Showers that really had a cause that was as interested in sharing their cause, I guess, as I was? Because I remember at one point after we had met, after I got in the vehicle, I think one of the first things I had said was like, hey, did you happen to check out what I'm riding for, or something like that? And I remember you telling me later on that, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was that you had told me something like, I knew you were legit, like right away when you immediately didn't really care about talking about certain things. You just wanted to talk about your cause. something to that effect. Is that right, or am I wrong?
No, I think, I mean, we've posted a good number of people over the years that have kind of had different reasons they're traveling and doing things, and there have been people with some different causes and stuff. But I think, one of the things I was communicating then was that you clearly seem to have a bit more passion and drive towards what you were doing in terms of your story and what you're working towards to raise more awareness for suicide, mental health issues and stuff, and sharing some of your own story. I think it came pretty clear that you're pretty serious about what you were doing. So which made it pretty natural kind of for that next part of our journey.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So guys, we both, I don't think any of us planned it. We were planning on just getting picked up and going home, but we ended up making a detour and we ended up going to a new super gas station, Buc-ee's. It's the first one it was the first one outside of the state of Texas, I believe, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So for anybody that doesn't know what Buc-ee's is, Buc-ee's is a super sized gas station. It is like the Walmart of gas stations. It's usually, what did that place have? Like 100 and 150 gas pumps? Something like that.
Yeah, surprised me.
So yeah, we ended up going there.
And barbecue to boot.
Barbecue to boot. And we ended up huddling up around. We were next to a light post, right, in the parking lot.
Yeah,
and we were just devouring brisket, I think it was, and stuff. But we ended up meeting a buddy of yours, which I ended up later on.
Well, and so Josh was Stephen Wood, and he basically, it was just in pure Josh fashion. Ends up being there, unbeknownst to all of us.
Yeah, and what about 40? It was about 40 miles away, right, from Mobile.
Yeah, it was a good little ways from Mobile, but he was making his way back through, going to a concert that night, and we ran into him and chatted a little bit. So I don't know, it was interesting that we kind of got to be a part of that initial story just by that one thing that we didn't foresee that night, meeting you that night and hearing about your journey and having us not know you beforehand was really cool. How we,
yeah, it was actually really cool because one, obviously I didn't know Josh at that point, and it's been a couple of years now, and I know Josh, and I've been on Josh's podcast, and believe it or not, for everybody that's listening right now, Josh actually did the introduction to the podcast, Friends from the Road.
Look at that.
So every time you guys, those voices you hear at the beginning of every episode, that's our buddy Josh we're talking about.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, David, one thing was, I think I had asked to stay with you for a day or two. Initially, I think it was supposed to be maybe 3 days tops, I think. But I ended up spending 5 weeks with you.
Yeah. That was kind of unforeseen, I think, on both sides. But yeah, I went from just a couple days to just over 5 weeks, and quite a bit of an adventure during that time.
Yeah, well, when you say quite a bit of adventure, I remember, let's see, there was 3 of us staying there my first night that weren't part of your family, but we were all kind of just staying on your couches or in spare beds, whatever we had. But I remember at one point, we had like a couch surfing camp going on.
Yep. Todd was the camp counselor.
That's pure Carden fashion right there. You can't get any more Carden than that.
Does that happen often, or is that Todd?
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah.
Now, yeah. Do you guys remember? I don't remember exactly how many people were there, but I know there was quite a few. And I remember us jokingly saying that it was a couch surfing camp. Do you guys remember how many people were there?
I feel like at one point there was more than like 10, 12 people. We were all crashing, like with our family plus all the extra surfers that were kind of coming through, both through warm showers and through couch surfing. So it Is that about what you remember, Todd?
Yeah. I remember about 100 other people, but yeah, I think yeah.
Well, yeah, during the day,
sleep on the trampoline. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I remember that too. But yeah, during the day, there was, I think we had one day, because there was so much always going on. David, the Carden family always has something going on. And I guarantee Todd can second me on that. But
say the least.
But they're always doing something, and when I say they're doing something, they're usually doing stuff that's very impactful for their family or for the community around them. And one of the couple of things that I got to do while I was with you, David, and your family was attend different church groups, and I also got to be part of Dwell, which is an organization based out of Mobile that does stuff with refugees. So it was really cool stuff that you guys did on an almost daily basis. But, something that I really am intrigued to talk about for both of you guys is the OPAAT movement passion. And what inspired you, David, mostly David, Todd, obviously yours later on, but for you, David, to really kind of jump on board and give me the opportunity to do the things that I did to make this organization a reality.
Yeah, I think what we were saying earlier is that there was clearly a lot of passion and drive to see these things that you were talking about in terms of your dreams and a vision for OPAAT, seeing them come to life. And you're kind of, in about your first year, and still kind of in that process of figuring out how to take that step from, dream and thought to some actuality in terms of getting everything done to make this nonprofit side of it become official. Mm-hmm. And just kind of worked out really well that over that time we discovered that there were some things that I needed done, some things that you needed done. And kind of together we partnered and helped accomplish a good bit and got the organization established, and nonprofit began in terms of technically officially recognized, and was able to do that in a far quicker time than either of us thought was really possible. And you were initially planning to head into New Orleans, to raise money during Mardi Gras, doing that pedicabbing. And instead, we just kind of knocked it all out in those few weeks there, man, and got it all rolling. But there was a lot of inspiration at pretty much everywhere we went, and all the people we talked to, and just kind of lived, eat, and breathed, this mission you were on, which was to, tell other people, your story and what you were doing, and try and use this life and journey you were on in a way to inspire and encourage other people, and teach them to kind of, not take some of life so seriously and learn how to live, one pedal at a time. And I believed in it, and kind of I want to really get out there and help it get started as we did.
Yeah. And, David, as you brought up, my initial plan was definitely to get the Mardi Gras in New Orleans to try to make the money anyways. My intent was to make the money, but it was never to start the organization at that point. And, staying with you and working on your house, and actually working with Todd too, I was able to make enough money through the opportunities to get the nonprofit going. And like you said, we got it going before I left again. And I think we submitted the paperwork right before my 1-year anniversary on the road. And we also did something pretty special for me just after my 1-year anniversary. And that was, I got baptized at your house, and you were my, I don't know what the right word is, the person that did it for me.
Yeah.
Baptizer.
Yeah, man. That was the night that, through the time and talking and hearing about your journey, we discovered that, that was kind of a really important part of the journey, that you wanted to be able to, show and confess your faith and belief in the Lord through baptism. And we talked about that, and ended up having several of the people that you had met while you were over or down in Mobile all kind of came together. And a couple of nights before we all left out, and that was the first time you got to share kind of your story in a kind of a group setting like that live. And it was really incredible sharing your testimony and then leading into the opportunity to kind of do the baptism.
Well, I'm glad you thought it was incredible. I will say that I was a nervous wreck. I was so nervous, even though it was people that I had met and shared portions of my story to already over the course of 5 weeks. It was so nerve-wracking for me, but it was exactly what I needed to get past that later on.
Yeah.
But, as I brought up, Todd, I ended up getting to do some work with you, and we did some work. We did some work, man. But we did a whole day's worth of work, and it ended up being in the wrong place. Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, that was interesting. Sometimes you start something, you have a vision for it, and life will send you another direction. And so it's almost like metaphorical about how I guess we all kind of met. It's like
true,
but that was it was a tough day.
Yeah. So for everybody that's listening, me and Todd ended up working with a gentleman that had to make a driveway, pretty much. Best way to describe that? We had to make a driveway.
Yeah.
So we were cutting
pretty
little
much.
trees. We were clearing. We were making it so we could drive through. And we got it all set up to put the gate in, and we cut the fence in the way so we could put this gate into place. And we just assumed it was in the right spot because it was where the fence ended. We were on the edge of the fence line. And we get literally, I think we were finishing it up. And what was it? The neighbor came by and was like, you guys are actually off 3 feet.
Yeah. Well, and where we were in those particular lots weren't very well marked as far as the boundaries of, what property was what. So, yeah, we were actually on the neighbor's property. So, yeah,
it was a rough day, but we got it taken care of, and it all worked out, I'm sure. So, but yeah, guys, I definitely want to get the main purpose of this call was to talk about our ride. And, something that we haven't really brought up is during those 5 weeks that I was with you, David, and hanging out with you, Todd, at some point it became a talk about you guys joining me from Mobile, Alabama to New Orleans, Louisiana. So let's talk about that. Todd, let's go with you first. What was the reasonings that you decided to be part of this adventure, and honestly, with the equipment that you had or lack of equipment, really?
Well, yeah, I think Dave and I were both unequipped for that. Started out with a great idea. And I think both David and I share in the fact that we fall in love with ideas. And then we're like, we're really going to do this. We're really actually going to do this now. So we just roll with it. And then, but yeah, it was mainly, we were just following that, I guess, the bliss of the inspiration. It really was just like about supporting you, because we believed in you. So it became that. And it's just like, and it shows that when you have a cause, people are willing to do things they wouldn't normally do, or maybe that they're maybe not conditioned to do, but yet, people can do. But then it showed us that we could actually, really make that happen. Something that I'd never crossed 3 states before on a bike, for sure. So that was interesting.
Hey, one time. That's all you need to do, and now you can do it.
That's it.
But David, I'm really interested in hearing your response. What inspired you to really you didn't even own a bike?
Yeah, man. It had been probably 20 years since I've ridden more than 1 mile on a bike. And my balls hurt. I mean, well, is that okay to say that on here?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. We went that bike right? The day before, and man, my entire undercarriage was hurting pretty bad. And so I thought, actually, it was a really bad idea. I thought I really probably maybe shouldn't be doing this. But then I had a friend make fun of me for about an hour the night before, and that's really all the courage I needed. So,
what friend made fun of you?
I have a buddy, John DeBruin.
Ah,
He helped light a fire under me. So,
yeah. I remember John making fun of you. And then, if I remember correctly, there was a bet placed.
Yep. There's a place, Texas de Brazil. And if I made it, he got to buy me dinner. It's about $50-$60 per plate, all you can eat of the best steak. Or I had to buy him, and I definitely was not going to be buying him. Wasn't going to be losing. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure you guys both didn't believe that once we get started. But before we get into the ride itself, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll get into the ride itself. All right? Are you looking for that beer that fits your active lifestyle? Maybe a beer fit for running, a brew fit for hiking. What about that beer league that you're in? A brew fit for backflips, a beer for surfing, biking, and skiing. One fit for workouts or rest days. Maybe you're looking for that chill time beer. Time to hang out with friends drink. Regardless of the reason, Athletic Brewing has the beer for all times. Brewed without compromise. Enjoy craft beers without all the alcohol. Get 20% off your first order with code capital RWD20. Link in the description. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back, guys. Before the break, we were talking about what led up to our 3-day event to go to New Orleans, but now we are at the day of the ride. David, let's start with you. What was your reaction to the day of the ride? What was going on?
Oh, man, I woke up feeling like crap. I was throwing up, not feeling so well. I think part of it was because I was like, damn, I think I made a mistake. I'm about to get on a bike and ride 150 plus miles, and my fat ass, I mean, is that okay to say?
You can say whatever you want.
Sorry, I was not prepared. I didn't feel like for such a trip, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. I wasn't feeling well, and for a second, didn't think I was going to do the ride, but then went out there and we talked and was like, all right, let's do this. We're all committed, and from there, it was kind of on.
All right. Well, what about you, Todd? I know we were sitting there waiting for him, but what was going through your mind when we first were getting ready to leave?
Well, I'm not really a morning person. It's interesting because when I go on vacation, I have the same effect of I become this morning person. When there's something that I'm looking forward to doing or something that's kind of anticipating and not knowing how it's going to all unfold, it's like this, I'm a curious spirit. So it's like, it just turned something on in me, and I was ready, and I think the day before I had gotten basically a kid's bike, basically.
Well, you definitely got a pawn shop bike. We'll say that. It was a pawn shop bike. I think it was a teenager bike.
Yeah.
We'll go with kid's bike. It was basically a kid's bike, basically. Just a step above a tricycle. So, but yeah, so I was it's just that tenacity of like, we're going to do this, like, and determination, regardless of, but I woke up fine. I woke up just, as good as I could wake up. So, or something like that.
And then 2 miles into it, did you think the same thing? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah. 2 miles got,
Todd versus car, guys. Todd versus car.
Yeah. Versus old lady in car too. So yeah. So it was an elderly lady that didn't apparently see me. I guess being mindful of the 5 feet that you should be aware of, and clipped me. Basically just clipped me just enough to situate the handlebars where I couldn't regain. So I basically fell to just a light stumble. It wasn't too bad of a fall, but then lo and behold, there were some people that David used to be youth pastor. These guys, and they ended up stopping because they happened to be coming from somewhere, and so we ended up. And so once again, there was another intersection of people that you could meet, that got to hear about your journey and what we're doing. All because I got hit. It's great.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm glad that your accident wasn't bad. Any accident can be bad, but of all the ways that it could have gone, it was the best possible outcome. But we were lucky. We were still in town. We were literally 2 miles away from the house. And about a half a mile away from where we were was a bike shop. So we ended up going to the bike shop, and they ended up fixing your bike. And we got back on the road. And David, what happened?
Well, we got up the road about 10, 15 miles, and clearly I felt like initially it was in over my head. I was not sure what the heck was going on, and it was huffing pretty good. And kind of became a problem when we realized that our fearless leader, Mr. Ride with Dan, was he was struggling as much as as I was. And then all of a sudden I look up and we're about 15 miles down the road, and damn, Dan, you're on the side of the road, man, kind of falling off your bike.
Yeah, man. I pretty much, if anybody just saw that, they would think I was croaking over on the side of the road. But I had full body cramps, guys. So everybody that's listening has an idea what's going on. Is I hadn't rode my bike in 5 weeks. I went from riding almost every single day to taking pretty much entire 5 weeks off. And
not drinking an ounce of water.
Maybe a couple ounces, but not much, for sure. Full body cramps happened. I jumped onto the bike thinking that I was the same person I was 5 weeks earlier. And clearly I mistaken. But the thing changed was I was resurrected, I guess, when we made it to the store and I got pickle juice. And I think you guys saw the difference when I drank pickle juice.
Yes. I'm a firm believer in it now. I actually drink it now.
Do you?
Natural muscle relaxer. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you got anything to say to that, David?
Oh, I definitely needed it. I used a good bit of it because I was in pretty rough shape. So yeah, that first day, first part of it, we had to go initially it was going to be about 40, 45 miles to the spot, and we didn't get,
I think we did 20,
halfway there.
I think we did 23 or something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. And
yeah, it was pretty early on.
Yeah. So the first day was a rough day, everybody. And we ended up crossing into Mississippi, which when you look at Mobile to where it is to the Mississippi line, we weren't that far. And we were very fortunate. We found a church that we could stay at, and they let us set up camp. And the two guys, you guys stayed in my tent, and I set up my tarp right next to you guys and slept in that. What was your first day thoughts after finally ending it at the camp spot?
After snuggling with Todd all night, we were ready to roll the next morning.
Yeah. Did you feel good?
No.
And I know why you didn't.
I distinctly remember David waking up and looking like he just slammed a whole bottle of Gentleman Jack or something.
Yeah.
Or got slammed in himself, so, but,
well, yeah. So for David, you typically use a sleep apnea machine, right?
Yeah.
So without that and without the comforts of your bed, you were sleeping pretty much on the ground.
Yep. And
it was
my
rough.
My legs hurt and my undercarriage hurt, and yeah, I was in a lot of pain and wasn't sure how that was going to roll that second day.
Yeah,
considering we had so far to go.
I don't think. Well, I knew I was going to make it, but I don't think you guys thought we were going to make it. All three of us after that first day was done. We were going to make it as far as we could, but I don't think anybody thought we were going to make it at that point.
Yeah, I think that morning, I don't think any of the three of us thought we were going to make it to New Orleans by Sunday.
Yeah, no, it was definitely close. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, well, I guess the whole rule of you just go ahead and get all your bad stuff out of the way, and that way you can just concentrate on the journey and the good stuff. So it was almost like we had nowhere to go but up. So it was like all right, let's go.
And you know what?
So-
in that second day, we had a lot of ups happening. We ended up making up ground, but we ended up making it through Biloxi. We ended up spending the night at the Buck State Park, I think it was called. Buccaneer State Park. In Waveland. I think it was Waveland, Mississippi, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, it was.
Before you get that,
it was right
if you
before
remember,
the
we had
line.
all that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it was definitely it was a tough day still. We still had to do it. And I feel like the second day, I feel like the first day too, but really the second day, we were riding into the dark. I remember us dragging our bikes, trying to get to this camp spot through the beach, which was not fun for me. I can tell you guys that. But I remember it being, we were just doing it one pedal at a time at that point. We were literally living by the organization's name that whole journey.
Definitely.
Now, David, that night we're setting up. You had asked not to have the tent, that you wanted your own space, and I was okay with that. So you ended up sleeping in the tarp. But I think by the morning you were a little off, primarily for
man.
one. I think that you could have almost been lifted up into the sky with the amount of
mosquitoes tried to carry me off, man.
And you were pretty pale, like they were just sucking on you for the entire night.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea because remember we got to that camp the night the sky was so beautiful, and I was like, this would be great to just kind of have a night, view of the sky as I'm falling asleep. And yeah, it kind of worked in reverse. The view was beautiful until all I could see was a swarm of bugs all around me, and so yeah, it kind of interrupted that whole thing. But it was still cool. We slept good. I learned a lot, was educated, in kind of the ways to sleep and not sleep when camping.
Yeah. Do you guys think what did you think? All right. We made it through that day. Was there anything you guys want to talk about on day 2 in particular, Todd or David?
Are we still recording?
Yeah, just this day 2. Yeah. No, River.
It sounded like you just stopped it. So yeah. No, I think that kind of covers it.
All right. What about you, David? Do you feel like you have any other thoughts about day 2?
Yeah, I just think overall day 2 really stood out to me because it was a day that kind of marked what felt like at first a journey that couldn't really see how we were going to make it, to suddenly we found a stride and really dug deep, and
we got back on track.
Yeah, man, we did almost 60 something, almost 70 miles, and we spent a good bit of that trip riding by the beach, and even had those big bridges that we got to ride over that were really cool. And so yeah, that was my favorite day, and a harder day, but it was definitely, I think, the day that it all kind of clicked and came together.
It definitely came together. I don't know if it was my favorite day. With that ending day 2, day 3, the home stretch, guys, the last day that we had together, we crossed into Louisiana. We did it. We crossed into Louisiana. What were your first initial thoughts when we crossed and said, "Welcome to Louisiana," David?
I knew we were going to make it, and I wasn't going to lose my bet.
That is true. I think at that point, motivated. Did we send him a message?
Yeah, we got that little bait shop place. We ended up calling, being like, "We're in New Orleans, bro." So send him a video message.
Yeah. Todd, you got anything to add to your first thoughts for when we crossed into NOLA?
Well, we were at the very, basically eastern tip of New Orleans at that point. So I wasn't even sure if we were quite in it yet. And then the lady confirmed, it's like, yes, you were here. So it was just, it was a great feeling. I actually felt like I was less tired than I thought I would be, just especially because we did so much the day 2. we covered what we do 70 something miles, something like that second day.
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah, especially as, so the first day we ended up short to where we were supposed to finish the day. But the second day, we made up the ground, and we ended up being exactly where we were supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically that was the high point, it was just like, this was, we had some things that kind of got in our way, but all in all, it's, the feeling of accomplishment was definitely there, that, and that we all arrived together, so.
Yeah, that honestly was the thing that I was most excited about. You guys weren't the first guys that had rode with me, but you guys were the first guys to ride with me with no experience. So to be able to do it together, we literally did every pedal together. We never lost sight of each other. I remember me being as heavy as I was at the time for bike weight. You guys would make it to the top of the hills or the bridges and just get the chance to wait for me. So, but I always kept up going downhill. I just want to say that. Always kept up. But something that else was really interesting is throughout the whole process, Todd, you took pictures, you made recordings, you did a lot of filming, documenting of our trip, which ended up becoming a video. Yeah.
Well, for anybody that knows me knows I love capturing things anyway. So that was kind of it was kind of natural for me to do that. And it turned out we had so much footage. It's just like, well, when and I basically made a YouTube out of it, a YouTube video that's on my page, if you wanted to insert that in somewhere.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw it in there. We'll get it out there so people can hear it. And especially our theme song.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, that song, for everybody here that, if you don't know what that is, that's 21 Pilots. Song is Chlorine. It's a great song. It became our mascot song, I guess would be the best way to say it, through the whole ride. We played that song so many times that it became our theme song for the video that you made.
Pretty much. Well, it kind of became this mantra to the journey in some interesting way, so, but yeah, that was, and I remember at random times we would just start singing it just a cappella.
Yeah, we did. I loved it. And I still play that song all the time. And every time I play it now or hear it or anything about it, I think of us. I think of OPAAT and I think of that amazing NOLA ride. But, before we finished the ride and before you guys took off, we got to a pretty special place. It wasn't, well, to be honest, it didn't look special if you were there. If you drove by it, you would have thought it was nothing. And if you went inside, you probably still thought it was much of nothing. But it was the place where we all had the ultimate burger. Do you guys remember that thing?
Oh, yeah. Don't judge a place by its cover, for sure. There's a hole in the wall in all the right places.
In all the right places. It really was.
Diamond in the rough.
Do you guys remember what was on that burger? Can you guys remember that? Because I kind of remember, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's try to build it.
It would be a shorter list to say what wasn't on it. So,
this burger was huge. David, do you remember what was on this thing?
I feel like it was like definitely the cheese, the bacon. Didn't have like onion rings and
jalapeno poppers, and I think didn't it have mac and cheese bites
fried
too?
Jalapenos.
Did it have Did it have mac and cheese bites on it?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't remember.
And weren't we in like an area of town where they kept telling us about all the people that like don't ride through here at night, and it was a pretty bad, sketchy spot, but I think the baddest little.
Yeah. They were very worried about us being there and hanging out, and we're like, no, well, we're just waiting for your wife, Jillian, to come pick you guys up and move on from there. But they were very concerned about us being in that area as it was getting later in the day. I do remember that. But yeah, that burger was insane. I remember it had a beef patty. It had bacon. If I remember correctly, it had like some type of sausage patty. I don't know if it was linguiça or cerise patty or something to that effect. And lots of cheese, jalapeno poppers. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that there was mac and cheese bites on it or something to that effect. And it was the ultimate burger. And I'm pretty sure we all finished them.
Well, we needed the nourishment after all that, because we've been surviving on like Vienna sausages and, squirrels and I don't know what else before that, right?
Yeah, probably Nutri-Grain bars or something.
Nutri-Grain.
And pickle juice.
And then Dan would smell the water every so often, but not drink it. So, yeah, got my water intake. Yeah.
Hey, so I definitely had a problem with drinking regular water. I drank a lot of lemonade. I drank a lot of Powerade and a lot of ginger, whatever, beer, ale, whatever. Nowadays, I'll tell you guys, especially since I've been doing this podcasting thing, I have been drinking a lot more water. You guys would be very, very impressed. I think you might even have like a shock.
I'd have to see it to believe it, to be honest with you, bro.
You've arrived, man. You won't go back.
Well, I'm not going to say.
You had an allergy to water. Where water would like make you break out and breathe.
That's only cheesecake, man. That's only cheesecake.
That's right.
For me, at least. But all right, we're getting a little off topic. But I love it. The after we ate the ultimate burger, Jillian showed up with a truck, and we ended up taking all three of our bikes, putting it in, and going downtown and spending a little bit of time. What did we do? We grabbed another snack. What else did we do? Walked around a little bit.
We went to a jazz little place. I remember that. It was a little jazz. Of course, New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz, so naturally, right? So yeah, it was cool. It was real chill. There was some guys playing, and we just enjoyed fruits of all our labors there.
Yeah, we did. And then, you guys had to drive back about 160 miles from that point to get back home. And that's when we did our farewells. You guys, David, you guys were very kind. You got me a Airbnb to spend the night there, so I didn't have to try to find a place to set up camp. And you guys took me there, and we said our goodbyes. I know personally, I knew our relationship wasn't done once we separated from that point, but I never expected to grow to the friendship that we've grown to, you guys. And I'm thankful that we've had these experiences together, and that we've been able to really connect, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
So, before we finish this conversation, do you guys have anything else that you want to add about the experience of the bicycle journey, or anything related to the conversation that we've been having? Todd, I'll let you start if you want anything.
Yeah, well, it really was kind of this, benchmark for me as far as looking how I viewed things, as far as what you really want to accomplish, it's in this subtle way, because I'm fairly laid back by nature. So it kind of gave me a good trajectory to start being more intentional about life in a way, because, we all essentially affect each other's lives in ways that we can't usually articulate. They just flow out of our lives, or our natural lives, even after the fact. So going back to what you said, yeah, I knew that we're going to be the last time that we were all going to, hang out and, in some form, especially with the way technology is. I knew that we were going to be able to keep in touch and follow your journey. And I've been an advocate for your journey. I mean, it's habitual. I'll just mention you. I'll just say, like, I got a buddy Dance doing this, and that may be for someone, that may be for someone that, that maybe doesn't understand quite why, but, this is the reason why, and this is why he started this nonprofit. And to basically help people align their perspective, as you say, one pedal at a time. It's one step at a time, one day at a time, to seize moments and then let them speak to you. Let those moments speak to you instead of having to arrange your life to make these certain steps where you feel like you've arrived. Because really, you never do arrive. You're constantly arriving.
Agreed. Todd, thank you so much. I appreciate you being an advocate for me and for OPAAT. And, it's been an honor to have you on the show first and, to call you my friend. It really is.
Definitely, bro.
David,
Definitely.
I'm going to let you close it out. What do you got? What do you got to close out this episode?
Yeah, similar to Todd, I think it's clear that chance meeting and opportunity that came from all of this and what all it's led to over the last few years has been, or last 2 years has been surprising. But at the same time, in knowing you more, it's not ultimately surprising. But yeah, that journey, not just the trip, but the whole thing has been, I think, constant times of things that you kind of think things are going to be one way, and then they're a bit different, and a lot of times of challenges, but also overcoming them consistently. And I think it's that philosophy, man, that you roll with, the one pedal at a time, that I think has really helped in places of our friendship and relationship over this time. But that journey, especially because I think it's a hallmark looking back over my last several years. I think it's definitely one of the highlights of, it was the highlight in my opinion of 2019. Just a really, really huge moment and just experience. I think that to be able to accomplish that, and have done it together with two guys that I care so much about and become such good friends with. Obviously Todd for many years before, but this to happen, and then to watch as things have grown from there and be kind of a behind the scenes part of some things over the last couple of years, and watching things develop. Just watching how you've dealt with things and grown, and the organization is going through things and just becoming what it is, and constantly accepting the change that keeps being pushed in front of you. Has been really encouraging to watch, and also to have been a part of pieces of this along the way. But yeah, who would have known that a random chance warm showers encounter would turn into couch surfing and warm showers camp, into a 5-week-long journey, to starting a nonprofit, to ending up traveling 150, 160 miles together on a bike, and then a couple years later hanging out on a podcast. So you never know what things are going to take, man.
Yeah, and that's the power of life, and I think that's something that I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to continue to have, is life. And just thinking about it, if I was successful in taking my life any of those times, we wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here with you guys, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I'm thankful that I was unsuccessful and that I had the opportunity to call both of you guys my friends. But last thing, last thing I want to bring up is just a simple yes or no question from either one of you guys. Have you been on a bike since?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. That's all I wanted to know. Keep riding.
With you.
Enjoy it. And remember, it's always one pedal at a time. Thank you guys for joining me. Copyright OPAAT Movement 2021.